Nick Watt there. Well, Barry Gardiner, who was in that meeting a little earlier, joins me now. Thanks very much for coming in. And the IFS has said today that this manifesto is about the state becoming much more deeply involved in our way of life, that more in the public sector, more in the private sector than it has been since the 1970s, possibly since the 1940s. Would you agree with that?
No, I don't think so at all, Emily. Look, what we're doing today is actually we're trying to free people up from all the things that are holding them back. I mean, if you look at a young couple today, they can't get even a deposit for a rented accommodation. They can't get a mortgage. They can't start a family. And they're saying, why? We're both in jobs, we're both working, and yet we can't do the things that our parents could easily have done at that age. You know, look at teachers who feel that they're not able to be doing in schools and teaching kids in the way that they want.
You wouldn't be ashamed, presumably, about the idea of the state getting bigger to help, would you?
But look, let me finish. It's not about statism. This is about freeing people up. It's about letting them do the things that they can do, that they should be doing. It's about innovation. I mean, I thought it was so funny, actually, when you had the piece at the very beginning, that the woman was almost criticising this manifesto. She said, okay, the trouble is this manifesto offers people everything that they want.
This is not me. This is the IFS reading your manifesto as it stands so far.
Sure.
The state getting deeply involved in much more of the private sector in a way it hasn't been since the 1970s, perhaps since the 1940s. That's wrong, is it? We're not going to see a bigger state. We're going to see a smaller state or a shrinking state, or where are we going to be?
What we're trying to do is trying to enable people to get on with their lives and feel that they are properly rewarded for doing the things that they just simply want to do, right?
So is the state going to be bigger or smaller or the same? It's a very simple question.
The state is going to regulate in terms of taxation. You've seen what the Conservatives have said. They won't give any promise on VAT. They won't give any promise on the basic rate of
You're talking about intervention. You're talking about nationalisation.
Yes,
you're talking about lots of ways in which you'll be spending more on infrastructure and all the rest of it. You're talking about a national education service as well as a national health service. So just tell us the state will get bigger and we're proud of it.
Well, isn't it wonderful that we're talking about putting, you know, half a trillion pounds.
I don't know why you seem to be embarrassed to be backing what is very obvious in here.
Oh, no, Emily, I'm not embarrassed. You're trying to put me into a form of words, and I don't want the form of words.
Let me ask you something in a different way.
Let's talk about the substance. No, let's talk about the substance. Because you're talking semantics. I want to talk about the substance, okay? I want to talk about the substance that says we're going to do a Crossrail, not just a second Crossrail in London, but we're going to do one from the west coast to the east coast of the north of England.
Big ideas, isn't it, Barry?
Exactly.
I want to talk about, is this a socialist? Is this a socialist manifesto? If the country votes for this, for your Labour government into power, do we become a socialist country or social democrat country?
You're obsessed with labels. Let's talk about the issues.
I'm trying to understand your big picture. Okay. There is a philosophy here from a man who has believed the same things for 3 decades. And we're trying to understand what that is.
No, it's not just from a man, right? It's from today. There were 60 people in that room. Right?
Ed Miliband said he was a socialist. He was proud. Are you proud to be a socialist? Is this a socialist manifesto?
The Labour Party has always been a democratic socialist party, and that's where I stand. And I will always stand there. But it's not about me, and it's not about names. It's about ensuring that people who feel that they're being held back in this country because, you know, Sure Start centres are closing, because they've taken £4.6 million out of social care, because the health service, we saw the figures today, 2.5 million people now waiting more than 4 hours, you know, to get into an A&E. These are the issues. And what we're saying is we have solutions to all of this. And the lady said, yes, it's what everybody wants.
And you're right. Big efforts to increase spending on social care, on the NHS, certainly on education. We heard from Jeremy Corbyn yesterday.
Taking back the franchises on the railways.
Right. And one area that I know you'll agree matters hugely to voters, of course, is immigration. Fair rules and reasonable management of immigration. So just talk us through, because there's not an awful lot in the pages that we've read so far about the immigration policy. We know you don't like the Theresa May idea of tens of thousands of a cap. Will there be any kind of cap?
Hang on. Theresa May doesn't like the tens of thousands idea because she tried to get down to tens of thousands. She promised to get down to 10,000 when she was Home Secretary, and it's now at 270,000. She didn't do very well there. And that was when she was Home Secretary.
So you're saying don't bother with the cap?
No, let me be clear about what we've said. We've said we will put our economic policy before our immigration policy, and that we will make sure that we have immigration into this country that is beneficial to our economy, that creates jobs in our society, that allows us to be a prosperous and innovative society where we're growing our economy. That's the right way to do it. What she's doing is she's subordinating the economic policy to immigration controls.
If I'm a Labour
That's
voter
crazy.
and I care a lot about immigration and I want to know what that means in concrete terms, and you're telling me now the number's about 270,000, would you be happy to see that go up? Could it?
Okay, let me be very clear. At the moment, for the rest of the world, we have immigration controls. They're Tier 1 visas, Tier 2 visas, Tier 4 visas, and so on.
Yeah.
That's what we have. We have those controls in place.
Just talk to me about the numbers. Just talk to me broadly. Would you be happy if it went up to 300,000?
Immigration numbers will always go both down and up according to the needs of the economy. And
but if they go up, you're relaxed about it. If they go to 500,000.
Okay. If it's beneficial to our economy, if it's actually providing jobs and growth in this country, and if that jobs and growth is then being distributed fairly through the system, because that's been the problem with the way in which society is run.
Understood.
It hasn't been distributed fairly through the system.
So as long as they're beneficial, it could go up to 1 million and you'd say, that's fine, we're relaxed because it's benefiting the economy. Is that right?
Look, again, it's so silly trying to trap me into a number and a form of words.
It's really not a trap.
No, it is.
You're talking to voters. You are talking to voters for whom immigration is literally the central issue. It's what drove many people to vote for Brexit.
Do you not think their job is the central issue? Do you not think the fact that they are locked in a 0-hour contract and that they can't afford even to set up a home or start a family? Is that not the central issue for them?
Labour's message is perhaps immigration
their children
isn't as important. It isn't a priority. That's fine, but you can say that then. It's not a priority for us.
We're not saying... Look, again, you're trying to trap me into a form of words. It's not about it not being a priority. It's not being about the number one priority. What we're saying is the key thing in our society is to have a fair society. That's why we're talking about fair management and control of immigration. That's what we're talking about.
There's nothing in here about free movement.
No,
There's nothing in here about free movement.
Of course not, because free movement, when we leave the European Union, and we accept we're leaving the European Union, the free movement of people goes. The free movement of people only exists within the internal market, and we are not going to be in the internal market.
And you're accepting that. If a Labour government is in power in June, you will accept then that free movement goes?
We've already said that.
So,
sorry, you're behind the times.
Right.
We've been very clear. Keir Starmer's been out there.
That's not in your manifesto. Why wouldn't you just say we don't mind free movement going?
Forgive me. You've seen a leaked draft of a manifesto. You haven't seen the manifesto.
So it is in the full one, is it, on Tuesday?
Well, we'll see on Tuesday. But take it from me, what Keir Starmer has been saying for weeks on your programme and on others is that the Labour Party accepts that we are leaving the European Union, and as we are leaving, we are no longer going to be a member of the European Union. Therefore, free movement of people stops because it's free movement within the internal market.
It's just interesting. That's not actually in the draft at all.
Let's go to the exciting things about this manifesto, right? Let's talk about the way in which we actually have a vision for society that is about innovation, a vision for society that is creating a low-carbon economy, low-carbon future, doing all the things for the environment, making sure that we protect the environment in the way that this government wants to deregulate.
Deborah Masson said this is a wonderful list of policies.
Absolutely.
There is something for everyone. It is a catalogue of delightful things. And yet we've got this Mirror poll, a paper that presumably you're quite friendly towards, on the back of this, after the manifesto, saying fundamentally this is a whole list of things that people want to see, but there is no confidence in the capability of the leadership to deliver this.
Well, let me be absolutely clear. On Tuesday next week, when we launch this manifesto, every single element of that manifesto will be costed absolutely clearly, how much it's going to cost and where that money is coming from. So we are absolutely clear that we can deliver all the things that we are promising to do.
A week ago today, you were losing 500 councillors in the local elections. You were losing in the South Valleys of Wales. You were losing in Glasgow. You were losing in Teesside.
What's that got to do with the money?
Because, no, I didn't talk about money. I talked about credibility in your party to deliver this. And surely you have already been to the electorate once this month.
Okay.
And they don't seem to believe that you are the party that's capable of delivering that.
So you think that we've lost this election before the vote is counted? I don't. I believe this is a transformative manifesto. I believe exactly what your introduction said, that this is telling people that Labour will deliver all the things that they genuinely want, all the things that they think have been holding them back in society are going to be taken away, that there's going to be a redress of the inequalities in this country, and that is the way that people can move from what they thought about local elections in rural areas to what's going to happen on June the 8th, because we have policies. The Conservative Party next Monday will not give you a single policy. They have kept their ministers stum the whole time.
Rural areas like Glasgow,
we have the policies to take Britain forward. They don't.
Barry Gardiner, thank you. Thanks for coming in.